to just
exactly what you sent me, that little splurb that you sent me, that's what everyone knows.
Okay, cool.
So you start from the beginning.
Right.
Am I
Good
right?
morning, everyone. Yeah. Everyone is on here. So yeah, so basically, since the last time we spoke, you know, we obviously do a lot of vetting and management for contractors currently. We've actually gone and developed a software unique for vetting and management of contractor suppliers. The system is very versatile, and we've made it dynamic. So it just allows for companies to, I'll use an example, everyone's categories and criteria differ no matter what company you go to. So for example, you know, we've got Food Lovers Market using the system now to vet their franchises, and then we've got potentially HWC wanting us to vet and manage their service providers, but then we've also got Virgin Active that wants us to vet their contractors. So that's obviously what we're chatting about here today. And now with the new legislation that should be going public comment or end on Saturday for the new legislation, it has now placed a lot more liability and responsibility on employers, which includes the contractor, because in the end, the contractor is an employer, even if they are self-employed. So we have put our comment in because we do feel that the new legislation is I don't want to say too strict, but lots of these small contractors don't have the resources and expertise to put a full health and safety system, which Department of Labour are now requesting. There's a lot of things that they're requesting, and now the new contraventions that are going to go out are based on every regulation that has been contravened against. So it's gonna, yeah, I do think it's gonna create a lot of upset. Put it this way, for companies that are in health and safety, you know, they might see it as great, but I do see a lot of issues coming with it. But be what it may, company owners or building owners, you know, there's a lot more responsibility now that's going to fall on your shoulders to ensure that the contractors that you use are compliant and have everything in place. So, which is obviously why we've gone and created this software. I'm going to just share my screen. Oh yeah. Just checking. Okay. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So we've obviously gone and created the website. So the website will become a portal for contractors or clients, whoever's using the system, to basically gain access to the system. There is an app. It's gone live on the Google Play Store. We're just tweaking a few features on there. And once that's done, we'll then obviously take it to Apple for them to approve it. Apple is a little bit stickier than Google. So we want to just make sure that we fix everything and ensure that all the bugs are removed, etc., before we take it to Apple. So yeah, so basically what will happen is, let me just log in so I can just explain how the app. So the website is more just to talk about what VettedAfrica is, what we do, etc., etc. So you'll log on. So I've just gone and made a dummy site, if you will, for JPOMA. So pretty much every company will have their own dashboard. The reason being, yes, I understand that JPOMA would like this contractor to work at another client, etc., which is great. However, the dashboard will be based, I'm just going to use Josie Housing for argument's sake, because we're going to be vetting their contractors from next week. So Josie Housing will have their own dashboard with their contractors and the reason you need to have it on your own database or your own dashboard is for liability purposes, because you know, as soon as it becomes a centralized dashboard for all the members to have access to, apart from Poppy, there's just no direct liability that can be pointed at a certain person should something not be in place. And that's kind of what you want to eliminate. You don't want to eventually have a finger pointing exercise saying, oh, but you brought the contract, etc. So each client will have their own unique dashboard with their own authorization code that you can see on the right here. What that is basically is an email will be sent out to all your suppliers, contractors, service providers saying, you know, congratulations, you're a vendor, whatever the case may be. Please download the VettedAfrica app. and register using the authorization code. This is just so that when Josie sends their email to their contractors, the contractor that downloads the app and uses their code will come and their information will basically come and sit on their dashboard or on their system. So I've broken this up. And I went and built this around how Josie works. So Josie's got buildings. Josie Housing's got buildings. They've got contractors and they've got tenants. So we're obviously going to be vetting all three of those areas. So firstly, we go and set up the categories. Each client, and this you can create as many as you want based on how you break up your categories of your suppliers. And then you go and create a criteria for each and every one, because a contractor's requirements will be different to a tenant's and will be different to a building compliance. So you can, and in here is basically obviously what you want them to have in place. So this is just an example. You'll have COID, training, risk assessments, and the list can just go on. Obviously, we will assist with what needs to be in place, should you not already have it. So once a contractor or tenant, whoever downloads the app and registered, they'll come and sit here in a pending state. You will then go into their profile, and then you'll go and link a category to them. So this is basically what, sorry, I just want to see if we got logged on here. I just want to see something. I'm going to go into the JPOMA contractor. So this is what a contractor will see basically. I'll log in as a contractor now. So a contractor will now download the app, they'll register, we'll go and link the contractor category to them, and it'll pull up the documents that they need to now upload. The contractor will then log on, which I'm quickly going to do for you. You guys are welcome to stop me as I go along. Contractor. Now the contractor will log in. You also see on the left hand side, they don't have access to the dashboard and all the other features for Poppy, and also we don't want contractors to know who the other suppliers and vendors are, etc. So this is what a contractor will see. He has his own little employee register here, so he's obviously got his employees here. They'll have their little profile, if you will, with their own unique QR code. And I'll get to the QR code now. We are in the process of adding, so we've hired a developer that's going to be adding new features to this system, which are basically nice to haves up until December this year. So this system is just going to constantly be evolving and growing and just becoming a lot more added features. So that's just the what's this thing called? The profile of the contractor. Now the client or admin, whoever that may be, has now requested this individual to upload a document, which they will now do. So they'll basically say COID, so they'll go and upload their COID. So now they've gone up. You also see this expiration date. They don't have access to that. That's only an admin function. I'll explain now why. I'm just going to add these documents in here. And now the contractor has uploaded all of their documents. A notification will then come through to admin, basically saying JPOMA contractor has uploaded their docs. So that admin can be either yourself or, we can take over that management for you. So, and the management is where if something's expiring, so I'll show you now on the expiry date, we will notify the contractor, ensuring that, so you'll see now, there's one not approved individual. So this is the contractor that we've just gone and uploaded now. So they've gone and uploaded their documents over here. So we'll go and obviously view the document. If we're happy with it, this is obviously the vetting process. We'll then go and put an expiry date next to each one of these documents after should we be happy with it. If it's not, we'll then obviously notify the client or the contractor, it's not valid, it's not from the right organization, whatever the case may be. We're happy with all the documents, they get vetted, and now they get approved. When you come to the dashboard, you'll see now there's 2 pending and 1 approved. When you go to the profile here, you'll see that he is now, or she is approved. And that's pretty straightforward. And like I said, we can vet buildings, we can vet the tenants that are in when I talk about a tenant, this is someone like, so if I use Josie Housing example, they've got Spa, Debonair's, they need to adhere to Josie Housing's requirements in order to be compliant to actually operate in their building. So these categories can change with each company. Obviously, you've got your filter to check. And once the contract has been approved, when this document gets to the expiry date, it'll send a notification to the contractor or service provider and to the admin saying COID is expiring or training is expiring, whatever the case may be. And part of the service that we offer as the management side, we will then still contact that service provider and say, did you receive your notification? Do you need assistance with updating your document? Please upload the updated COI document. Otherwise, you will fall into the non-approved bracket. So we generally set this expiry date, a month before. So it gives that individual a month to get that document in place so that they never fall into the not approved bracket. And it just allows, and then also the system pretty much becomes a virtual assistant for the contractor, because now the system automatically allows them to know when things are expiring. It just helps them keep up to date, which in essence builds them as a small company, because if they're compliant over here, when they go and look for work elsewhere, they've got all of these things in place, they're up to date, and that's obviously where the SMME development part comes in. And that's pretty much it, really. Obviously, everything it goes through the website. So I'll just quickly show you what we've done for. So we actually got a section here for SMME development. So these are a lot of companies we deal with have small contractors that have got nothing in place. And they say, we still want to use this individual. How do we get him compliant? Which is why we've gone and done this. So companies that have got an ED, or enterprise or supply development budget, can now purchase a contractor pack, or the one on the left, which is a full package. They can basically take that fund, spend it on that individual, and that individual will obviously get all of these issues sorted out in that pack. So we'll basically set everything up for them. Also, part of the pack is an annual membership fee for the website, which means I'll get loaded to the directory on our website, which is still getting added. And yeah, it just it creates more opportunities for that contractor when they go to other corporates or other property companies, that they've got everything in place. And that's pretty much it, really. Very straightforward.
Great, thanks, Dale. Does anyone have any questions for Dale?
Dale, from my side, thank you. If we were looking for an accredited plumber, for example, in a particular area, so you're saying the website can serve that purpose. So, could we log in as a public member and say, right, I'm looking for that particular contractor? How would we do that? And when will that service be in place? Because that could be a benefit as a Contractors Directory, knowing that they've been vetted, and also knowing that you can search for them covering a particular area. Maybe with client reviews that it could track as well.
100%. So one of the newer features that we are adding to the actual software is going to be a rating system as well. It's quite an intricate thing to include, but it is in the pipeline, and that will be before the end of the year. So there will be a rating system. There's going to be a non-conformance tracker. But then as for the directory, we are busy loading that on there. So someone would literally go and choose a category, which would be plumber. There's actually going to be country, because we are moving into Africa with this. So there'll be country, province, category. And then you'll go and see their little profile. And in their obviously, they'll only be on the directory should they be vetted. So we have our own criteria that we will check, which is actually on the website. If you go and look under members, then yeah, you basically find them on there. You'll be able to find their little profile. We will only load them on as well once they've signed the consent for the POPI consent form to basically get their permission that we can display their information. So if they say no, then we'll only go and put the company name there. But obviously, we'll explain to them the benefits of displaying the different information in there. So we will have company name, the address, what work they actually do, what do they have in place, COID certificate. So there's going to be a list of a whole bunch of different items, health and safety certificate, IOPS membership, or I think it's PIRB membership. So all of those things are going to be value adds to them. And then eventually, once we got the rating system on this on the software, they'll actually be listed as based on their rating. Because there's going to be 3 areas that we're going to rate them on. One is going to be obviously health and safety, because it all falls under compliance, quality, and then I think the other one was reliability. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So maybe let's just pretend I'm a sort of contractor and I'd like to work for Josie Housing.
Yes.
All right, so I make contact with Peter Day and I say, Peter, I'm a contractor, I'd like to work for Josie Housing. You know, will they then say, fine, but you'll need to subscribe to VettedAfrica and, you know, load your documents and be listed there to be a compliant supplier before we can add you to our organization?
No, not at all. So the membership is more just for the public domain. If a contractor goes to Josie and says to Peter, I'd like to become a contractor, they say, okay, great. Well, you need to go through the vetting process. They'll download the app, they'll register, we vet them on behalf of Josie. If they're approved, then Josie can use them. If they want to become a member, obviously they'll subscribe to become a member. There is a membership fee. The reason for that is it's pretty much just covering server costs, because obviously there's a lot of information that we put on there. So the membership is more a public domain so that they can be seen across different industries, because we've got Nedbank and JC, Dequan, quite a few other companies saying, will there be a public directory? We said, well, we actually are making this available. So yeah, I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, so who pays, you know, so will the contractor pay to do that? Because, you know, they're getting, you know, exposure in business through that, because that seems to make sense. So like, let's say we would say, right, you know, if you want to be on our preferred panel, then you need to register and be there. And then do you guys then do the necessary compliance checking and go through the documents? Because it could differ whether you're a plumber or electrician or a painter or waterproofing company, etc. So will you apply those standards to the necessary service category, check the documents and give them an all clear in terms of the registration?
100%. So if we're doing it for just VettedAfrica itself, so if it's just a random contractor that comes off the street, for argument's sake, and they say, I want to be a member on your directory, we've got our internal criteria, us as VettedAfrica, that what we're going to look for. It's generally going to be statutory documents, so that if a client now goes and looks for someone on there, they know that 90% of the stuff is in place. It's very hard for us to put a criteria in there that will cover all industries. The list will be, you know, but if we go and do our use Trafalgar for argument's sake, if we did the vetting for you, we'll come and sit with you and you'll say, okay, Dale, I've got these contractors, this is the different categories. We've got plumbers, electricians, IT companies, security, whatever. Then we'll obviously advise you and say, okay, for them, this is their criteria. For them, that's their criteria. Build that in your system. And then if a contractor comes to you, the security company says, I want to potentially do work for you, then we'll link the security criteria and category to them, vet them within Trafalgar, and then they'll sit on your dashboard. There's no cost for that. But if that security company wants to now be on the VettedAfrica website to be viewed by different industries and different companies across the country, they would pay a membership fee out of their own pocket. Or if Trafalgar has an enterprise or supply development budget, they can actually fund the contractor a membership fee for them to go on the website. But that's entirely up to you guys. But that cost generally comes from the contractor, because it's benefit to their company.
And what does that cost, Dale? What will the contractor pay per year to be a member?
We've got there, I think it's 1/8 for the whole year. And then, because we've got different areas, so there's contractors and companies, We've got professionals, so people like architects, civil engineers, health and safety officers, and then we've also got another one for moderate and assessors, because a lot of companies have been asking for a platform where they can find a accredited trainer, facilitator, if you will. It's a big issue. We have it as well. We're always looking for people. And we actually added that feature on because HWC potentially wants us to vet and manage all of their service providers and assessors across the country. So, yeah. But it's all on the, let me, if I just quickly go on the website, I'll show you. I'll share my screen here again. Because then I'll actually just show you, yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
So you go under members. So basically explain what a member is, what kind of so they pretty much, there's an annual membership fee of 1.8. This is for contractors, training providers, whoever. And this is what we're going to check their documents. This is VettedAfrica's internal criteria. This will differ from Trafalgar, Virgin Active, Nedbank, but this is what we want before we even put them on the directory, because in the end, I don't want a company going there and saying, yeah, this guy, we found him on your website, but his COID is expired, or he doesn't have one, or whatever the case may be. Because once we vet the random contractor off the street and we load him to the system, part of the membership fee or the benefit of the membership, they will be loaded to the system, and the system will send automated responses to them when these documents are going to be expiring. But also part of our service, we will still contact them and help them get those documents up to date, because if they don't send us the updated document, they fall or they get temporarily suspended as on the directory until such a time they give us the updated document. Because in the end, it boils down to our reputation and the quality of contractors that we are marketing to different clients. So we've got the company membership, then we've got the professional membership. There's a huge space for a platform for people to look for vetted professionals in all of these areas. And then obviously this is the moderators and assessors, what we actually look for. Yeah, and then obviously the benefits, they get free, I'll call it free marketing. They have access to our vetted suppliers. So we're negotiating pricing, etc., with the likes of FEM, guys that do medicals, guys that offer PPE, to give us the best pricing, so that when a contractor needs one of those areas, we've got people that give the best price but the quality service as well. And also we call it a virtual assistant, because once we've loaded the contract on there, as I mentioned, they would get a prompt saying your COID is expiring, and then someone from our team is still going to phone them and tell them, guys, your COID is expiring. Do you need assistance with updating it or not? Which majority of them will need that. And we actually help that individual get that document up to date, or that requirement up to date, so they constantly stay compliant. And that's, yeah.
And Del, is there any way of they supposed to do a health and safety check or confirm they've got their safety file going onto site? So are there any protocols for entering a site to confirm compliance at that point, because that's something extra?
Yeah, so when we vet, sorry, I keep taking this from my screen. I'll share my screen again. So we've got different levels as to what we check. So the standard, what we're currently doing, so the things, for example, like Josie Housing and the contractor off the street, currently it will be a level 2 check. So we're going to check that they've got their OHS compliance certificate in place, because they can't be issued a certificate if they don't have their checks and risk assessments and. However, if it's an actual site specific job, so if we're checking a file for a specific job, then it would be a level 4, because all of these are variant costs. So I'm going to use example Virgin Active. They just want us to check statutory documents. But then we've got another logistic company that actually wants us to check the level 5, which is actually health and safety documents, but as well as a site inspection. And then Nedbank wants us to check just site-specific safety files for a particular, and that's why we've broken it up into levels, to basically bring the cost down. Because, I mean, yeah, And because it's also based around how much work goes into the actual vetting. Site specific is a lot more detailed because we're checking, as you mentioned, you know, we're checking, do they have their checklists in place, their risk assessment and all of this stuff. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Does anyone else have any more questions? Okay, well, the recording will be made available, especially, I think, Sean, you came in a bit late. So I'll send that out to everybody. And then if anyone has any questions or would like to contact you, Dale, I'll make sure that your contact details are attached to the recording.
Perfect.
And then they can just you directly.
Sorry, Andrew, I've just forgot to mention one thing. So the reason for the app as well, when a contractor registers, they'll get a unique QR code linked to their profile. So if once we go and vet that contract and he's got everything approved and it's a couple months down the line and they're still approved, when that contractor comes to your site, your staff can obviously download the app. The app is free. When the contractor comes to site, you can scan that contractor's QR code and it'll say if your contractor is approved or not. If they're not, it'll obviously say what is outstanding. But then if we're doing the management, we never want that to ever happen. That contractor shouldn't come to your site and you scan his QR code and it says not approved, because then it just shows us as management or doing the management, we're not doing what we're supposed to. So yeah, so that is one of the main reasons for the app, is purely just to register and onboard and to scan for quick identification if the contractor is compliant. Yeah.
So I suppose the best thing to do would be for JPOMA members to contact you, and then you would then tailor make it for their business and what their requirements are.
Yeah, because we'll need to assess each contractor, because technically every client will have their own specifications. If they don't, you know, these are things that we can draw up for you. We can assess the criteria. So we're actually assisting Nedbank even, because we've looked at their criteria and there's a few things that they've actually left out. That we said we think you should put this in, especially with the new legislation coming out. So yeah, we will tailor make it for each and every client.
And I think one of the most important things, well, that I feel, but I mean, I'm not a developer, but also is making the small guy, the Bucky Brigade, compliant. Because I'm sure every business has the guy who's that electrician or plumber who's really good at what he does, but has never been able to get compliant. So I think that's really important to support those smaller guys.
100%, and that's why we put together that SMME development pack or contractor pack. So we do have some clients that are actually going to fund, I think, 30 or 40 of their contractors that they want to use. They know they're not compliant, but they want to uplift the community where these guys are actually doing the work. So yeah, they're going to basically be taking their ED and SD budgets. They purchased the pack. What they've asked us to do is actually give a voucher. So they're not actually giving money to the contractor. They're giving money, but not cash, because they don't know if the guy's going to run away with it or whatever. So we'll base it, and every contractor pack will vary. And why I say that is, you'll say, we want to fund this contractor. He's only got 2 staff, which means he's only going to need 3 medicals or 3 PPE packs or whatever. So the cost will differ for each and every contractor. So if anyone does want to spend the ED or SD budget on a contractor, just give us the info, how much staff they have, because it does affect the costing. Because we don't want to, it affects the cost.
Okay, cool. Does anyone else have any questions for Dale? No, we're happy.
Cool.
Okay,
Great.
Awesome, Dale. Thank you so much. I will get this out to everybody either today or tomorrow. I'm just working on my newsletter. Hopefully you get a lot of stuff filtered through to you.
100%. And then I'll still chat to Nikki just to tweak on the JPOMA website, because we'll just link it. There's a bit of information, because obviously when we spoke to her, we weren't developing a software. Now we have, so the whole thing has changed. So I'll still chat to her so that we can create those links that when they go on your website, they can literally click from that or take it to ours. And when they go into ours, they'll click on your logo and it'll take it to yours to push more traffic to JPOMA as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Great stuff. Perfect.
Great. Thank you, everybody. And thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.